When I pissed on a Grammy, I was because I kept on picking up Grammys because there was so many of them.
Behind the flashing cameras and golden trophies lies a system that even Kanye West himself has now exposed. For years, Ye has been one of the loudest voices challenging the Recording Academy. From storming stages to calling out industry politics, he's never been afraid to put the truth out there. But this time, it's different. This time, Kanye isn't just making noise, he's pulling back the curtain on the Grammys in a way that could shake the entire industry. And just when you think you've heard it all, the truth he reveals will make you question everything you thought you knew about music's most prestigious award show. Because this isn't just about Kanye. This is about power, money, control, and how artists are silenced when they don't play the game. So buckle up, because by the end of this video, you'll never look at the Grammys the same way again. You've got to rewind to the very beginning of his complicated relationship with the Recording Academy. On the surface, Kanye looks like a Grammy darling. With more than 75 nominations and 24 wins, he stands as one of the most decorated hip-hop artists in history, tied with Jay-Z for the most wins by a rapper. By the numbers alone, you'd expect him to be the Academy's perfect poster child. He should be the face of why the trophies matter. But here's the twist. Despite all those accolades, Kanye has never truly trusted the Grammys. To him, those golden gramophones don't reward the best music, they reward politics, industry deals. Quiet favoritism has shaped the awards since their inception in 1959. And when you retrace the history of Kanye's clashes with the Recording Academy, it looks less like random outbursts and more like a long, bitter battle with an institution he believes was never built for artists like him. Take 2005. Kanye was still riding high off The College Dropout, a debut that redefined hip-hop, mixing soul samples with conscious storytelling and shifting the mainstream forever. Critics hailed it as a classic. Fans saw it as revolutionary. But when the Grammys rolled around, Kanye lost Best New Artist to Maroon 5. Nothing against Adam Levine's band, but even at the time, the decision raised eyebrows. For Kanye, it wasn't just a loss, it was the first crack in the illusion. Was this really about artistry? Or was the Academy rewarding the safer, more radio-friendly option? Then came 2009. Everyone remembers it. The MTV VMAs, Taylor Swift, and the mic-snatching moment heard around the world. Sure, it wasn't the Grammys, but the fallout bled into every corner of the music industry. Suddenly, Kanye wasn't just outspoken, he was unhinged, dangerous, unpredictable. So when Grammy season came around, the question wasn't just who would win. It was whether the Academy would quietly punish Kanye for breaking Hollywood's unspoken rule: never disrupt the pageantry. Fast forward to 2015. The night Beck shocked the world by winning Album of the Year over Beyoncé's Beyoncé. Kanye actually walked toward the stage, seconds away from recreating his 2009 protest. He stopped himself, but later, he made his feelings crystal clear. The decision wasn't just a snub, it was a betrayal of artistry. His now famous line, "Beck needs to respect artistry," and he should have given his award to Beyoncé, wasn't really about Beck. It was about a system that, in his eyes, consistently failed to honor black musicians in the most prestigious category. But nothing compared to 2020. That's when Kanye staged his most shocking protest yet. In a clip that instantly went viral, he placed one of his Grammy trophies inside a toilet and urinated on it. For an artist with 20-plus Grammys to literally desecrate one of them on camera was a statement louder than any acceptance speech. To him, the trophy had lost all meaning. It wasn't recognition, it was propaganda. And Kanye didn't stop there. He started pulling back the curtain on what he saw as the deeper issues. Black artists often being sidelined to genre-specific categories like Best Rap Album, while Album of the Year, Song of the Year, and Record of the Year have historically skewed toward pop, rock, and white artists. He blasted the Academy's secretive voting process, which even insiders have admitted is plagued with bias, lobbying, and backroom deals. The numbers seemed to back him up. Until 2023, no black woman had won Album of the Year since Lauryn Hill in 1999. Beyoncé, despite being the most awarded artist in Grammy history, has lost Album of the Year 4 times. Hip-hop, the most commercially dominant genre in America for over a decade, is still treated like it doesn't quite belong at the top table. Kanye's protests fit into a larger trend. Drake has skipped Grammy submissions altogether, famously saying he doesn't care if he wins. The Weeknd, after being snubbed despite Blinding Lights breaking records, called the Grammys corrupt and vowed never to submit again. Frank Ocean has also refused to participate. So when Kanye urinates on a Grammy or rants in interviews, it's not an isolated tantrum. It's part of a wider movement of artists who feel the Academy has lost touch with culture. And that's why this moment matters. After years of silence, scattered rants, and headline-grabbing protests, Kanye West is finally laying out his issues in detail. It's not just about his personal beef with the Grammys, it's about what he believes they represent. A broken system that profits off artists while refusing to truly honor their art. The real question is this: was Kanye ahead of his time in calling out the Grammys? Or is he simply the loudest voice in a chorus of frustration that's growing louder every year? Either way, his war with the Grammys isn't just music history. It's a mirror reflecting bigger questions about race, recognition, and who gets to define greatness in art. When Kanye West first started clashing with the Grammys, the music industry wasn't quite sure what to do with him. Some insiders brushed him off as just being Kanye, loud, unpredictable, always chasing headlines. But behind closed doors, a lot of artists were whispering the same thing: he's not wrong. Because here's the truth: the Grammys have long been accused of overlooking black talent, especially when it comes to the big four categories: Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best New Artist. And this isn't some conspiracy Kanye made up in the 2000s. It's a pattern that stretches back decades. Michael Jackson felt it. Prince felt it. Even hip-hop legends like Tupac and Biggie were virtually ignored by the Recording Academy during their peaks. So when Kanye started openly calling out the Grammys, he wasn't inventing a fight, he was ripping the curtain off, a problem artists had grumbled about for years. Take the 2014 Grammys, for example. Macklemore and Ryan Lewis won Best Rap Album for The Heist over Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, M.A.A.D. City. Fans were furious, critics were stunned, and the backlash was immediate. The loss hurt so badly that Macklemore himself texted Kendrick, admitting he didn't deserve the win, and then made the mistake of posting that text online. That moment became a meme, a cultural flashpoint, and for many fans, undeniable proof that Kanye's constant complaints weren't just ego, they were rooted in reality. And it didn't stop there. Frank Ocean, one of the most acclaimed artists of his generation, refused to even submit his 2016 masterpiece, Blonde, for Grammy consideration. His reasoning? The Grammys, in his words, don't represent very well for people who come from where I come from. That was a quiet protest, but Kanye's protests were never quiet. He said the things other artists only whispered about. And here's where it gets interesting. Kanye's boldness gave others permission to speak up. Drake, during his 2019 Grammy acceptance speech, used his time not to thank the Academy but to dismiss them, telling artists that they didn't need a Grammy to prove their worth. You've already won if people are singing your songs and buying tickets to your shows, he said before the producers awkwardly cut him off mid-speech. Then there was The Weeknd. In 2021, after his album After Hours and its record-breaking single Blinding Lights got 0 nominations, he blasted the Recording Academy in a scathing statement, calling the process corrupt. That word corrupt was the same word Kanye had been using for years. And now, the biggest artists in the world were echoing him. But here's where things get complicated. The industry's response to Kanye himself was divided. Some supported him privately, admitting they felt the same way. Others distanced themselves, not wanting to be blacklisted by an institution that still had power. Because make no mistake, the Grammys still matter. A Grammy can boost an artist's sales overnight, raise booking fees, and even influence brand deals. Speaking out against them isn't just bold, it's risky. So when Kanye took things to the extreme in 2020, posting that infamous video of himself peeing on a Grammy trophy, it wasn't just a publicity stunt. It was career warfare. He was symbolically destroying the very object that the music industry treated like gold. The message was clear. Your validation means nothing to me anymore. The shockwave was instant. Some called it genius. Others called it career suicide. But the one thing nobody could do was ignore it. Even artists who weren't Kanye fans found themselves talking about it, because deep down, they knew his anger wasn't just about him. It was about the way the system was built. And just when you thought he couldn't push it further, Kanye doubled down. He started demanding transparency from the Recording Academy, calling for voting committees to be exposed and for the process to be reformed. He accused the Grammys of boxing and black artists, rewarding them in genre categories like rap or R&B, while consistently passing them over for the biggest awards of the night. But here's the ultimate irony. While Kanye was torching them publicly, the Grammys still couldn't quit him. They kept nominating him. They kept awarding him. They kept using his name, his image, and his controversies to drive ratings. It was a toxic relationship. Kanye needed them less and less, but they needed him more than ever. And that's the part that made Kanye's war with the Grammys so fascinating. He wasn't just fighting for himself. He was voicing a frustration generations of artists had felt before him. The only difference? Kanye wasn't willing to whisper it in backrooms. He shouted it, he tweeted it, and he lived it no matter the cost. When Kanye West went off on the Grammys, fans didn't just watch from the sidelines, it sparked one of the loudest, messiest debates in modern music history. The moment he turned his anger on the Recording Academy, social media lit up instantly. Twitter threads exploded, Instagram posts went viral, Reddit debates raged for days, and YouTube reactors picked apart every detail of his outbursts. On one side, you had fans who were completely behind him. To them, Kanye wasn't just ranting, he was exposing a truth the music industry had buried for decades. These supporters pointed to a long list of Grammy controversies that seemed to back him up. Beyoncé losing Album of the Year to Beck in 2015, Nicki Minaj, despite her undeniable dominance in rap, walking away with 0 Grammys. Hip-hop legends like Snoop Dogg, who has racked up over a dozen nominations but has never once taken home the Golden Gramophone. For these fans, Kanye wasn't unhinged. He was the only one bold enough to stand on the biggest stage and say what everyone else was too scared to admit. The Grammys don't respect black artistry the way they should. One viral tweet summed it up perfectly. Kanye may be crazy, but he ain't wrong. The Grammys been rigged. Another fan chimed in, say what you want about Ye, but he's fighting for artists who've been robbed for years. That kind of energy turned his protests into something bigger than himself. It wasn't just about Kanye's nominations anymore. It was about justice in music, about a system fans felt had been broken for years. But of course, not everyone saw it that way. Plenty of people thought Kanye's antics weren't about activism at all, they saw pure ego. To them, this wasn't a revolutionary moment. It was a spoiled superstar throwing tantrums because he wasn't getting his way. Some critics argued that Kanye wasn't fighting for all artists. He was fighting for Kanye. On Reddit, one heavily upvoted thread put it bluntly, this isn't about fairness. This is about Kanye not getting enough Grammys to feed his ego. And that split in public opinion is exactly what made the whole saga so fascinating. Every time Kanye went on another rant, fans were at war in the comments. Some call him a truth-telling hero, others call him an egomaniac who thrived on chaos. It was messy, loud, and completely impossible to ignore. And then came the memes. Oh, the memes. The now iconic image of Kanye literally peeing on a Grammy trophy became a viral joke overnight. Fans remixed it into cartoons, GIFs, and even fake protest posters. TikTok creators layered it with ridiculous soundtracks, turning it into parody gold. Some saw it as the ultimate symbol of rebellion, Kanye literally flushing the industry's validation down the drain. Others used it as proof that he had completely lost his mind. Either way, it was everywhere, dominating timelines, group chats, and even late-night comedy monologue. But here's the craziest part. Even the haters couldn't stop talking about it. The backlash didn't silence Kanye, it amplified him. Suddenly, his feud with the Grammys wasn't just an isolated celebrity meltdown. It became a global conversation about race, recognition, and what it really means to measure success in music. Do awards define greatness, or do the people who actually buy the music, stream the songs, and show up to the concerts hold the final say? And just when fans thought they had seen the peak of Kanye's rebellion, he took it even further. He began connecting the dots between the Grammys and what he saw as something darker industry exploitation. In interviews and on Twitter, he started talking about contracts that keep artists trapped, publishing deals that strip away ownership, and a system that profits off musicians while giving them only a fraction in return. For Ye, the Grammy trophy wasn't just a shiny piece of hardware. It was a symbol of that system. And that's where the story took a wild turn. Because suddenly, the fight wasn't just about trophies, categories, or nominations. For Kanye West, it was about something much bigger. It was about freedom. Here's the thing about Kanye West. His battle with the Grammys didn't just appear out of nowhere. If you've followed his career from the very beginning, you know award shows have always been more than just ceremonies to him, they've been battlefields. Let's rewind to 2004, the very start of Kanye's solo career. His debut album, The College Dropout, wasn't just an album, it was a cultural earthquake. Packed with soul samples, sharp wit, and social commentary, it gave hip-hop a new voice and earned Kanye an impressive 10 Grammy nominations. On that night, he walked away with 3 wins, including Best Rap Album. But when it came to the most coveted prize album of the year, he lost to Ray Charles' Genius Loves Company. Now, losing to a legend like Ray Charles might not sting for most artists. But for Kanye, this was the first taste of what he would later call the system. He believed The College Dropout wasn't just the best rap album of the year, it was the best album, period. And in that loss, the seed of frustration was planted. Fast forward to 2007, Kanye was at the height of his powers, dropping Graduation in the middle of his legendary sales battle with 50 Cent. The album moved hip-hop into stadiums and electronic soundscapes, redefining what the genre could be. Commercially and culturally, it was a juggernaut. But when the Grammys came around, he lost Album of the Year again, this time to Herbie Hancock's River, the Joni Letters. Critics scratched their heads, fans were outraged, and Kanye was left boiling. The choice wasn't just surprising, it felt symbolic. It reinforced a deeper idea that no matter how big hip-hop became, the Grammys would always find a way to crown someone else in the biggest category. And then came 2009, the infamous Taylor Swift moment at the MTV VMAs. Kanye stormed the stage, snatched the mic, and declared that Beyoncé had one of the greatest videos of all time. Now, that wasn't the Grammys, but it was the clearest glimpse yet of how Kanye saw the industry. To him, it wasn't about politeness, it was about justice. If he thought an artist was robbed, he wasn't going to sit quietly. That moment turned him into both a villain and a martyr, depending on who you asked. But it also revealed something crucial. Kanye's battles weren't personal feuds. They were protests against a system he believed disrespected artistry. By the time we reached the mid-2010s, Kanye's frustrations had only gotten louder. In 2015, when Beck shocked the world by winning Album of the Year over Beyoncé's Beyoncé, Kanye nearly stormed the stage again, only stopping himself at the last second. Later, he admitted in interviews that he couldn't hold his tongue anymore. His words were sharp. The Grammys were disrespecting artistry and playing with artists' emotions. To him, it wasn't just about Beyoncé or Beck. It was about years of seeing black artists dominate culture while being sidelined when it came to the Academy's most prestigious honors. So when 2020 arrived, Kanye's breaking point was inevitable. That year, he posted a video of himself placing a Grammy trophy in the toilet and urinating on it. It wasn't a meltdown, it was the climax of over a decade of anger, disappointment, and public protest. Think about that image for a second. One of the most decorated artists in Grammy history, literally desecrating the very symbol of his success. It was shocking, yes, but it was also the purest form of Kanye's message. The trophy no longer held value. And here's the kicker. Kanye wasn't alone in this war. Jay-Z boycotted the Grammys in the early 2000s after DMX was repeatedly snubbed despite dominating the charts. Drake has openly questioned why rappers are boxed into genre categories while pop acts take home the big awards. The Weeknd, After Hours, and Blinding Lights received 0 nominations in 2021, declared he would never submit his music again. Even Frank Ocean refused to participate, calling the Grammys corrupt. Kanye wasn't the lone wolf he was painted, as he was part of a much bigger movement of artists calling the Grammys out for what they saw as outdated, biased, and disconnected from the culture. Which brings us to the million-dollar question. Was Kanye West the villain in this story, lashing out at a system that made him rich and famous? Or was he the only one bold enough to put the Grammys on trial in the most public way possible? And here's where it gets even more jaw-dropping. Because after years of fighting the system, Kanye didn't just want recognition, he tried to burn it all down. So here's where we stand. Kanye West didn't just call out the Grammys, he tore the mask off an institution that many believed was untouchable. From boycotts to viral protests, from public rants to that unforgettable video, Kanye made sure the world knew exactly how he felt about the industry's so-called highest honor. But the bigger question is this. Was Kanye crazy, or was he right all along? Because let's be real, the Grammys are still losing credibility every year. Major stars are pulling out, fans are questioning the results, and entire genres feel like they're being ignored. And with Kanye continuing to fight for artists to own their masters, the battle isn't just about trophies anymore. It's about freedom, ownership, and rewriting the rules of music itself. Think about it. What happens if more artists follow Kanye's lead, if they stop submitting music, stop showing up, and stop letting the Grammys define their worth? Would the institution collapse? Or would it finally be forced to change? And maybe that's the legacy of Kanye's war with the Grammys. Not the outbursts, not the viral memes, but the uncomfortable truth he forced everyone to confront. That in the music industry, recognition isn't always about talent, it's about power. So I'll leave you with this. If Kanye's fight is just the beginning, what happens when the next generation of artists decides they've had enough? Could we be looking at the end of the Grammys as we know it? Or will the system find a way to survive, no matter how many stars walk away? Drop your thoughts below because this story is far from over.